Hi guys, my name is Tyrone Williams and I'm the director here at the Math Factory. Okay, good. Now in this video, I'm going to give you a basic introduction to the quadratic expressions and in fact show you a few neat tricks as how you work with these expressions when come across them. Okay, now as it's stated here, this is a quadratic expression. Now in its general form, a quadratic expression is written in this form, and here I have it in this rectangular box. It's ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is the coefficient of x squared, right? So we can make some notes here, some very important notes, that a represents, a is the coefficient of x squared. Okay, and as we have learned in class or in previous lessons, the coefficient means the number that is before the variable, that is multiplying the variable. Okay, and we have a b here, so b, this b here is called the coefficient, is the coefficient of the term in x. Okay, and if you notice, b is in front of x. And c, we call c now, c is called, or c is the constant. Okay, constant. And as we would have learned before, that a constant is a number that doesn't change. Okay, c is called the constant, and I'm going to put slash here, and I'm going to put this in quotation because it is very important. It's also called the y-intercept. Okay, so these are some critical things that we need to know, or properties or characteristics of a quadratic expression, where a is the coefficient of x squared, b is the number before x, and c is the constant or the y-intercept. Now there are some neat little tricks about this quadratic expression that you need to know when working with them. And I have some examples here, because sometimes when we're in class, students like to ask, then sir, why are we learning this and how does it relate to real life? Okay, now if you notice here, I have an example. So let's scroll down a little bit and let me bring up this example. So in example number 1, if you should notice carefully, let me just pull this down a bit. Okay, now in example number 1, if you should notice carefully, that I have a wall here, and in my wall I have 3 arcs. Okay, and it's as if they're smiling. These arc shape is as if they're smiling. They're looking like this. Okay, this is example number 1, and the arcs, they're smiling. They have that downward kind of shape. Their mouth would have that downward shape then. Now good. Now what happened long time ago, engineers, mathematicians, when they were trying to design these arcs were designed based upon the quadratic principle, right? Because this is a quadratic shape, right? And as we have always said, that math is in our real life. Okay, so all we have to do is to look around. Now the beauty about this now is that if and only if a is positive, as we have here in the first expression, so let me make a note here. If we have a positive ax squared plus bx plus c, if a is positive, then the graph will look like this. It will have this shape, and I can just do a rough sketch. And I mean, this is just a quick example, so you don't have to beat up yourself if you're not clear. When we reach a graphing, when we are teaching the graphing aspect of it, we'll go more deeper in the explanation. Okay, so in this case, if you're drawing this graph, if you're sketching this graph, if you're asked to sketch this graph and the a is positive, your graph should look like this. Okay, should have that smiley face. So we say if a is positive, it causes the graph to smile, and or it would look like this, as these arcs are in the wall here. Okay, now another thing that we need to note, that sometimes A is negative, and I'll shift now to my second example, and we'll move up to example number 2. Okay, so in example number 2, as we have here, and let me change my color. So this is example number 2. Oh, this is giving me a little bit of trouble. Okay, good. So in example number 2, if A is negative, then it will cause our graph to have this frown. Okay, if you notice, these arcs are upside down. So again, when the engineering were designing these arcs, it took some knowledge of the quadratic function. Okay, so in this case, whenever the arcs are upside down, A would have to be negative. So I would have to have a negative ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay, and this graph would generally have a look like this. So let's say then that this is my x-axis and this is my y-axis. Then my graph would have this general shape. It would have a frown, like it's as if it's upset. Okay, oh sorry, I don't think I had labeled my axis here. So this would be our x-axis and this is our y-axis. Okay, so that's just a typical introduction to the quadratics. Okay, and what they look like. If A is positive, then the graph will smile, as you have seen here. But if A is negative, then the graph will frown. It will be upset. Thank you. If there are any questions, you can always feel free to contact us and we'll respond to you as soon as possible. Bye.